Hi guys, and welcome back to Planet 40k. We've got another Rate It or Hate It video for you today. Another Canoptek unit today. We're going to be looking at the Canoptek Spyders from the Necrons Codex. We're going to be going through the data card, my personal tactics, and we're going to rate it or hate it at the end of the video. So let's get straight into this one, the Canoptek Spyders. Right, let's go into this data card then. We've got a 60mm flying base. One model is 75 points, two models 150 points. You can of course get one or two models in a unit. And let's go straight into the stats, I guess. So we've got the movement of 5 inches. That's quite slow, to be honest with you. That's one of the letdowns within this unit, really. Toughness 7, that's nice, that's pretty nice. 3+ armor save, no invulnerable save. 6 wounds apiece. I think it could have been a little bit more, but they're only 75 points, I guess. We can't expect too much. 8 pluses on the leadership, and the OC is only 2. Maybe we could have had OC 3. OC 4 I think would have been too much, but OC 3 I think would have been fair for 75 points. But yeah, out of those statistics, the toughness does stand out. The wounds, I think, makes them very light, doesn't it? Toughness 7 with 6 wounds is quite a light vehicle, but it should be anyway, but OC I think could have been better. Right, let's get into these weapons then. So we got the automaton claws as standard, but we've got war kit options, as you can see at the bottom there. We've got any number of models can have the 2 particle beamers, so you would take them, why wouldn't you? Any number of models can have the fabricated claw array, again, why wouldn't you take it? As well as the glue and prism. They're all free this edition. In 9th edition we used to have to pay points for each of those things, so sometimes people used to skimp out and not actually buy them, and it was very understandable because sometimes you had specific roles, for example getting into melee and things like that. But everything is now free, providing you pay the 75 points per model, so you get everything. Right, so let's get into the range weapons then. Particle beamers. Remember, there's 2 here. A lot of people seem to forget there's actually 2 of these weapons, so they just go by, you know, what you see, but there's actually 2 of them. So they've both got blast. They've both got blast. Again, that's very forgetful or forgettable. We'll go over that again in a moment. They've both got devastating wounds. The range is 18-inch range. Now you've got D6 attacks per beamer. You've got 2 beamers. Let's say you roll a 3 and a 1, and that's 4. If you're going up against a unit of 5, that's going to be 1 additional per beamer. So it's going to be an extra 1 for first beamer, an extra 1 for the second beamer because of blast. That will put you up to 6. So I'll say that part again, but just in case it went over people's heads. Blast is a +1 to your attacks for every 5 models in the enemy unit. So you use your first beamer, you roll D6, you +1 to that result. Your second beamer, you roll D6 and you +1 to that result as well. So you're getting double bubble on the blast, which is very good, but very forgettable. Devastating wounds is also on this thing. Yeah, we've said that. What am I going on about? Right, you're hitting on 3s, which is actually good, because you're hitting on 3s, right? For a Canoptek unit to be hitting on 3s, did we used to hit on 2s with this weapon? I can't remember now what the index looked like. The book is all the way in the cupboard. But yeah, I think no, we can't hit on 2, surely not. But we hit on 3s regardless. We're strength 6, minus nothing, no AP there, and 1 damage. So this is a very effective weapon going up against toughness 3, 1 wound models with low armor saves, because you're wounded on 2s, the AP doesn't matter because they've got a 5+ or a 6+ armor save, and 1 damage is all you need to remove models. Hordes, Guardians, Gaunts, what else we got? Guardians, Gaunts, and Guardsmen, the 3 Gs. So that's what they're good at. They can also fire against the toughness 4 stuff, because you're still wounded on 3s at the end of the day, even toughness 5 in fact. Now you got no AP though, so they're gonna still have like the 3+ armor saves. That makes it a little bit more difficult to get through them. But if you've got a lot of attacks, volume of attacks here, maybe you roll really good with your attacks. You roll a 5 and a 6. That makes 11, and maybe you're going up against 5-man units, so that's going to be 13 shots. And maybe you roll a load of devastating wounds. Who knows? But yeah, I think they're a decent weapon to have on this model. Bear in mind as well, in fact, you could have 2 models in this unit, so that would be 4 particle beamers, all forward blast. So that could be a lot of volume there. Is that a right phrase? A lot of volume? High volume? Yeah, we'll go with high volume. Right, the melee attacks, we've got 5 attacks per spider. You're hitting on 4s this time, we are Canoptek after all. Strength 8 is nice, minus 2 AP and 2 damage. So I like this. Strength 8 is decent. Your wound in toughness 4 on 2s. you're wounding those very light stuff on 3s, or even the elite infantry stuff that are like toughness 6. Even like another Canoptek Spider, if you're going up against another Spider unit that's toughness 7, you're still wounding them on 3s with this weapon. Minus 2 AP is fine. The damage 2 is a little bit not quite enough to go up against light vehicles, monsters, or anything heavier, I suppose. So really we are kind of limited. There's a little bit of a ceiling there. We need to be going for infantry, mounted and beast and all that kind of stuff. But it is a decent weapon. We don't get many attacks. 5 attacks isn't a lot. I mean, Immortals get more attacks for their points cost. They're 70 points and they got 2 attacks per model, so you'd actually have 10 attacks with the Immortals, although they're not strength 8 of course. But you kind of get my gist there. You're getting 5 attacks. Maybe it could have been put to 6, maybe. At least if you got a 2-man model, if you got 2 units, that doesn't make sense either. If you got 2 models in the unit, that would be 10 attacks, but you're hitting on 4s, that's the other problem. I mean, we will talk about the Canoptek Core in a moment, of course, but if you're in a standard detachment that hasn't got the rerolls or anything like that, you're going to lose on average half of your actual dice there. So if you've got 10 attacks, you've only got 5 hits on average. Strength 8 is good, yeah, but a few slight issues with that weapon. So going over to the ability side, we've got Deadly Demise 1, so they can actually explode onto each other, which is, it's only a minor one, it's only 1 mortal wound. It's not the worst case scenario. We do have reanimation protocols anyway to sort of reanimate those problems. The Canoptek Swarm is their unique ability, so it's in our command phase, select a friendly Canoptek Swarm unit. Within 6 inches, 1 destroyed model is returned to that Scarab unit for each spider we've got in this unit. So if you've got 1 spider, you bring back 1 Scarab Swarm. If you've got 2 spiders in this unit, you bring back 2 Scarab Swarms. I like that. It's one of probably my most favourite synergy. I think I said this in the Christmas Eve video we did. It's probably my most favourite synergy ever with Necrons. I just love this because you bring back 2 Scarab bases in your command phase, but also in the command phase, guess what? Reanimation protocols. So you've got a chance of getting D3 back anyway. Maybe there's an injured one, so you actually got a chance of bringing another base back. Maybe you've got a reanimator nearby, there's another D3 there. I think in fact you could potentially bring 4 bases back. If there's 1 model that's on 3 wounds, the Scarabs I'm talking about, you bring 2 bases back because of the spiders, so that's 2. And let's say you roll really high with the reanimation and the reanimators there, and you roll really high on that too. So you roll a 6 and a 6, that would give you 6 wounds back. So that will give you another base. Well no, first of all it will heal the one that's injured, and then you've still got 5 wounds to go. So that will bring another base back. So you can actually bring 4 back, which is quite cool. But I do like Scarabs, I do like the Spider synergy. Yeah, one of my favourite synergies. Now the War Gear abilities, we did mention that you can get them for free, but we didn't go over what they do. The Fabricator Chlorate Aura in this codex. Friendly Necron vehicles within 6 inches get a Feel No Pain save of a 6+. Cool, okay. That could be the Silent King. It could be the Canoptek Doomstalkers. It will be the Canoptek Spyders, which is something that I always forget because we've not actually spoke about the keywords, but there are vehicles there. The vehicles, they've got Fly and the Canoptek, but the main part is their vehicles. They used to be monsters back in 9th edition. So this 6+ Feel No Pain save for vehicles within 6 will include themselves. But yeah, the Silent King, Doomstalkers, Doomsday Arcs, Command Barges if you want to go that far, and anything else you can think of which has the vehicle keyword. So that's the first piece of War Gear which you will have for free. The second is the Gloom Prism Aura. So for friendly Necrons within 6 inches again, they've got a 5+ Feel No Pain save against mortal wounds and psychic attacks. Now this is for all Necron units, not just vehicles this time, but the restriction now is mortal wounds and psychic attacks. So remember that Deadly Demise 1 that we had earlier? If one spider gets destroyed and rolls a 6 and then there's a mortal wound on the other spider, well he actually gets a 5+ Feel No Pain save because it's a mortal wound. These guys are also very useful if you're going up against Thousand Suns, possibly Tyrannids if they've gone psychic heavy. You've got Eldari as another example, Grey Knights, they're another psychic kind of army. A lot of the actual weapons and abilities maybe have psychic written in their keywords. So if they've got psychic, instantly 5+ Feel No Pain save, which is nice. It's nice. So yeah, that is the data card. Let's move into my tactics. So my tactics, of course, we're going to jump straight into this. The Canoptek Core. They are Canoptek units after all. So they're going to be re-rolling hit rolls of a 1 or potentially all the re-rolls within the power matrix, which is nice because, okay, they're shooting on a 3+, but they are fighting on a 4+. So we definitely will be using those re-rolls. What I like about this though is that it doesn't just interact with melee attacks, it's also the shooting attacks as well. So your particle beamers are going to get the re-rolls, your automaton claws are going to get the re-rolls. So you've got 2 different phases with an itchy nose. You've got 2 different phases where you're making use of those Canoptek Core abilities, which is good. And in fact, going back to those particle beamers, if you're re-rolling all that stuff, you've got more chance of actually getting devastating wounds off because you've got more dice to play with. Now you can actually turn on devastating wounds for your melee attacks as well with the automaton claws, with the Senozo of Eradication stratagem. It is 2 CP, it is a little bit pricey, I'm just letting you know about it. I wouldn't personally use it on spiders, but if you wanted to have devastating wounds across the board for spiders, there is a way of doing it. The reactive subroutine stratagem is quite decent for an extra 6-inch movement. As soon as an enemy gets within 9 inches, they can move 6 inches in any direction. Now, bear in mind, these guys, well, these spiders, not guys, they're spiders, they are quite slow, they're only moving 5 inches, so they will definitely make use of that movement. Anything that comes within 9 inches, they get to do it. Now, bear in mind, deep strike, strategic reserves, those kind of abilities from the core rulebook, they mean that units are coming in more than 9 inches away from enemy models. So you can't be using this stratagem for units that are deep striking 9 inches away, because they're technically more than 9 inches away. Now there is an argument to also use them in the Awakened Dynasty, just purely because of the protocol of Undying Legions, because this is a 2-person unit or 2-model unit. As soon as you lose one of them, you get to use the Undying Legions stratagem, and you can actually bring the model back, which is kind of outrageous really, especially when they're 75 points each. But that's the only real reason I take the Awakened Dynasty. I mean, yeah, you got the +1 to the hit roll with the enhancement, but I think you're really sticking to the Canoptek Core on this one. Now, in general, you're of course going to run these with the Canoptek Scarabs. Why wouldn't you? Because the interaction is so good. You're bringing a base back per turn, maybe 2 per turn, depending on your unit size. And as we mentioned, if you've got this on top of reanimation protocols, it really keeps that Scarab unit up and running, especially if you've got a full unit of 6 of them. If you've only got a 3 Scarab unit, it's not as good. I wouldn't bother. Not with spiders anyway, there's just no need. Just have them solo. But if you've got a 6-man unit with Scarabs, then yeah, spiders will definitely assist. Something else to mention here, which I tend to forget this stratagem very often, not gonna lie. I forgot it in the Command Barges video, but it's Tank Shock. Tank Shock is worth mentioning because this is a vehicle unit. So what you do with Tank Shock, you spend a CP, and you get your strength, which is strength 8, and you get that many dice, so you get 8 dice. Any 5+ rolls are mortal wounds. I think it's capped at 6 mortal wounds, but you're probably not going to get 6, to be honest. You're probably going to get like 2 or 3, but that's mortal wounds on the charge before you've even got your automaton claws out, which is nice. It's nice. Now for me, the way I use them is I make them no man's land objective sitters, because they're not very quick. They're not going to be going to the other side of the battlefield, maybe in the Hypercrypt Legion, but then you're using wraiths and things. Why would you use spiders? In the Canoptek Core, get them to the no man's land, let them sit on an objective, have Scarabs as a shield. The Scarabs can screen off the actual 3 inches of the objective to prevent your opponent from actually getting in. Of course, as soon as a Scarab dies and they start doing their pile-ins and consolidation moves, the enemy units will start to get toes on objectives potentially. But with our OC of, what was our OC again? Was it 2 per model? It was. So with our OC 4, and the Scarabs have their ability to actually bring down the OC of enemy units, we still should be able to hold the objective. Don't forget, we're also actually going to be fighting. We're going to be using our automaton claws, our beamers in our actual shooting phase as well, and the Scarabs have got all their lethal hits too. Now with those Scarabs, I know we're not talking about Scarabs really, we're talking about the spiders today, but with the Scarabs, what you then do is, in our movement phase, fall back. Fall back. You don't need to have another fighting phase. They don't do a lot of damage. Force your opponent to waste another fight phase by fighting those Scarabs, by having to charge them again. Don't give them another free fight phase. Just fall back. It also means we can actually shoot at the unit because they're not in engagement range. You could also use your spiders on our home objective area. It's normally reserved for units such as the Doomsday Arcs, the Canoptek Doomstalkers, maybe a Locust Heavy Destroyers at a push. But you could pair the Canoptek Spyders with those models because they've got all those Feel No Pain saves. So that could be a way to keep those models up and running, especially if you're going up against a shooty faction that is actually firing back. Now in terms of comparisons, as far as mid-ground objective holders go, we've got Lichguard with the Swords and Shields. They've got a lot more OC, 2 per model. And you can have a noble in the unit such as Imitate the Stormlord for the CP farming. I think even a 5-man unit of Lichguard is better, and it's only 10 points more. So that's the first comparison. I want to throw Immortals in here, Warriors as well in fact, but Immortals, they're less durable, they're cheaper, they can't really fight off enemies, but they've got the objective control, they've got the OC. And Warriors, they're even less durable, but you can have a 20-man warrior unit. Okay, that's 200 points, but you can really start to screen off a good area of the battlefield to prevent your opponent from getting anywhere near the objectives unless they literally remove the unit, which means they're not dealing with the other good stuff, like your Catan, for example. Canoptek Wraiths are a comparison. Also going to be using the Canoptek Corp because they are Canoptek. They're not as tough, they've got toughness 6, but they've got an inbound save. So the inbound save is going to be key here. They've got the optional Technomancer with a 5+ Feel No Pain save, which is all game round as long as the Technomancer is alive. But a unit of Wraiths, admittedly, is going to be a lot more expensive than the Spiders. Then finally there's a Triarch Stalker. Doesn't get that many mentions on the channel. This has not really been great. I do like that. I've got a little bit of a soft spot for the Triarch Stalker. It's 125 points, so that's 50 points more than a single Canoptek Spider. It's toughness 8, not toughness 7. So it's better in terms of toughness. It's got the 4+ invulnerable save. It's got double the amount of wounds with 12. It shoots better than it fights, admittedly. But it does assist with other shooter units that you've got because it removes cover for other units. It's got less synergy with units such as Scarabs, of course. But it does interact with maybe the Obeisance Phalanx if you are playing that style. It's just a bit of a tanky vehicle that can also do the same job that Spiders do in the No Man's Land as an alternative to the Spiders. Okay, so let's rate it or hate it. It's time for the rate or hate it. What do we do with the Spiders? I know what I need to do, but my heart is saying something else. I love the Spiders. Like I said earlier in the video, one of my favourite synergies ever for Necrons. I love the way they interact with Scarabs, and I love the whole, especially now that we've got the Canoptek Court with all the rerolls, it makes them a little bit more efficient with their attacks. But I've got to be totally honest with you, I've played the Canoptek Court a number of times now, and I'm barely using them. I'm barely using them because I'm taking my Wraiths, I'm taking all the Doomstalkers, and then the Catan, and then you can stick the Cryptex within the Immortals unit and the Warriors units. And by the time you've kitted out all these units, you don't have much room for the Canoptek Spyders. They're a little bit of a luxury, so as much as I really do love them, I'm never actually fielding them when I'm trying to actually win. If I'm playing a friendly game, of course, but then you can say that about an Annihilation Barge. You can say that about anything. But when you're actually trying to win or trying to test a list to see how efficient it is, I've never got the Spiders in. So unfortunately, I've got to go with I hate them.